Veterinarians are 3 to 5 more times to hurt themselves or commit suicide, or succeed at committing suicide. My question basically is, why the heck are people wanting to be veterinarians?
So I was just a kid that was like too lazy to come up with a new dream. So I just stuck with the one I had as a kid and never considered anything else. But I did work with someone once that said, like, everyone in our profession that works with animals, that like feels this strong connection to animals, their words was like, we're all a little broken. And that's why we go into this profession, because there's like something that the animals give us back. And I was like, I'm not broken. I'm fine.
Gen Xers are the first ones to kind of buck the system. Millennials were all about work-life balance. And then Gen Zers are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? My Gen Zers at home, they get their news from social media. They believe what they read on social media is true. And it's scary. It's scary to think, when I need to go get my hip replacement, those are the ones that are going to be in charge of doing it. Does it make you cringe when people say they became veterinarians because they don't like people?
Yeah, you can't do that at all. You would go be an engineer. You can't. Good luck on clinics, and but 4 years with a vet school class and not like people. It's so much drama, and it's a whole other conversation too.
Do you see yourself as an
Yeah,
extrovert or introvert? Yeah. Do you find it exhausting to talk to people?
not in the moment, just at the end of the day. Um, I think I'm good at like doing the thing, like where you go to the soccer game and you like talk to all the parents and you find something in common with them all. But at the afterwards, I'm like, that was a lot of work. And I'm not doing it to like show face or be fake at all. Like, it's genuine things. Um, but it sometimes it's a lot of work, but I also don't avoid it. Like,
Most skin issues are cookbook, but practice in life are if you're thinking it's going to be this like perfect roadmap, you're so screwed. You have no idea what you're talking about.
no, I think that's so true. And I think I was the kid that wanted to be a vet. So like my career path was like very clear. But I know it's not for a lot of people. But then like applying to vet school, a lot of these kids that have applied and now they're waiting. I was thinking about that this morning. Like, I applied to 4 schools and that was it. Like, I don't now kids apply everywhere, which is insane. I shouldn't say kids, but students. They apply to so many schools. I applied to 4 that I would reasonably consider going to. I only got interviews at 2. I got waitlisted initially at both. And then when I got into Virginia Tech, I took it because what if I didn't get anywhere else? And then when Auburn took me, I, canceled with Virginia Tech and went to Auburn. But even that whole process, at some point, my parents were like, do you have a backup plan? And I was like, what do you mean a backup plan?
Did they ask you that at the interview? Because at Illinois, they asked us what the backup plan was.
I don't know if they did. I guess somewhere during the interview process, I started to think like, so I like went to the pharmacy school and I was like, can I still apply? And I talked to some public health
That's what I did.
professors. I never
I got
applied,
into
but I went
Chapel
and
Hills
talked.
Pharmacy School.
Yeah.
I did.
But I
That was my
honestly
backup.
I didn't have a backup plan. I was like hanging it all on getting in. So thankfully I did, but
So the year I applied was the first year they had that general application process.
Okay.
And Wisconsin was very nice. They sent me congratulations, you're 1,186 on the wait list.
Oh my God. They gave you a number?
They did. They gave me a number. The guy I work for, my mentor, he's a Purdue guy, big Purdue, big. Their whole family's Purdue. He's like, I'll get you into Purdue. That was the first rejection letter I got.
No, I think that backfires on you. I'll be honest.
Does.
I had someone kind of high up write me a letter. When I turned it down, I got an earful about like how the person had written me a letter and they had all this, like, I don't think it works out in the end.
Right. Well, yeah, I got in Illinois, took it, but I applied to every school.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
It's
Well, it's
expensive.
easy. It's check, 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 check. And then you just do supplemental applications after you check all the schools. And,
But
it was
doesn't it get expensive the more you click on?
really, at that point, it was
Yeah.
like, I mean, you're looking at close to 300 in debt if you're if you're going to take out
Okay.
loans. What's an
You're like,
extra
what's a little bit
what's an
more?
extra 1,000?
It's true. I guess too, I know I'm not like everyone. And if I was like, you got into vet school, you're going to Washington State or like Mizzou, I probably would have been like, Kansas State. I would be like, what? So I think for me, maybe I was still just naive. I was like, these are the ones I'd consider going to. Like, maybe I just had a different, I was probably just naive.
Wow.
Honestly, I had no backup plan. I
Yeah.
thought, like, surely, like, I'll get in. And it's not like that.
Well, yeah, you read all these Reddit posts about people who are like, I'm on my fifth try, and I just feel awful for them
Yeah.
because the thing is when when you look at the stats, you know 80% of veterinarians at some point have clinical depression while they're working, which is crazy.
That's,
And then
yeah.
veterinarians are 3 to 5 more times to hurt
Mhm.
themselves or commit suicide, try or succeed at committing suicide. My question basically is why the heck are people wanting to be veterinarians?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I mean, is there something I'm missing? Because do you think people don't know those stats before they apply, or do you think it's just because as of right now, that's really what they want to do? They want to work with animals.
I had, so I was just a kid that was like too lazy to come up with a new dream. So I just stuck with the one I had as a kid and never considered anything else. But I did work with someone once that said, like, everyone in our profession that works with animals that like feels this strong connection to animals, their words was like, we're all a little broken. And that's why we go into this profession because there's like something that the animals give us back. And I mean, I was like, I'm not broken, I'm fine. But you kind of, maybe there is something behind that. Maybe there's something that's happened to all of us in our life that the animals and that connection with the human animal bond like fills. And that's how we end up here. But no, even my son, he's a mama's, like the youngest son is a mama's boy. And he's like, I want to be a veterinarian. I'm like, dude, no, go. You just say that because I'm one. Go do, he's only 6. But I'm like, go find something you want to do. That's not this.
Well, you have 4 children, so if any of them came up to you and said, "Mom, when they're older and they say I'm going to be a veterinarian," what would you say?
I mean, I'd say why for sure. Like the one, I'd be like, if it's just because it's what I do or what I did, you think like you and I are going to work together, like, and hopefully as he grows up, he's going to become more independent. I'd be like, those aren't the right reasons. The other, I can tell you now because of personalities. Like the oldest girl's not going to be a veterinarian. The second boy, I don't, I don't know that I see it. The youngest could. I think she has a strong compassion for like doctoring and caring. She's preschool. This is ridiculous, but her preschool teacher told me they got out dinosaurs, like they did a dinosaur lesson, and she immediately went to all the doctor stuff and directed the class in how to give the dinosaurs checkups. That was like her first like thing you should do with the dinosaurs, give it a checkup.
Wow,
She that like stethoscope on.
that's
So I don't
perfect.
know, but I think it just as long as I'll support my kids and whatever they want to do. I just you and I have said this, like, this is the best job in the world for me. This is it. I don't want to do anything but this. I want my kids to find a career that they're passionate about that hopefully will like financially support them so that they can do it. And if it truly is veterinary medicine, that's great. But I just want them to find something that they're like, this is it. Like, this is the thing that I like think about that I truly enjoy. And maybe they won't find it right away, but hopefully they find it.
Do you think kids today have the emotional control to be a veterinarian? Because everyone's saying it's a generational shift, right? When you compare Gen X to millennial to Gen Z, do you think they
What are
have
what are kids now? Like teenagers and below? What generation are they?
they're Gen Zs?
They are okay. Um, what's the one that's like after millennials?
You mean
Who's
older or younger?
like younger than millennials?
Gen Z.
And then what's the one after, like the younger one from them?
Well, you got 25 years of what a
Yeah,
generation. So
is that
have
how it
we
goes?
yeah, have we hit one yet? I don't know if we've hit one yet because it's I look at these Gen Zers like these because I have Gen Zers,
Mm,
and their emotions are all over the
yeah.
freaking
I was
place.
gonna say the Gen Zers are the ones I'm worried about. Whatever the little kids like, is my daughter that's 4? Is she a Gen Zer still, or is she
I
like
I have no clue on that
I
one.
don't?
That's a good question.
So I think the kids. I'm hoping that the millennials that are raising. Are you? I'm a millennial. Are you a millennial? Or are you?
I'm a Gen Xer.
So I think the Gen Xers that are raising Gen Zers, not that it's your fault, but I think those are the ones I worry about, the Gen Zers. I'm hoping that the millennials that are raising the XZ, I don't know. I'm hoping they're more emotionally capable. But I agree about Gen Zers. It's been eye opening working with them or employing them.
Yeah. Do you think my thing isn't that you're the one who talked about the social test, right? Put them all in a room, no
Take away a
phones,
phone. Uh-huh.
and see what happens. See if they're
Yeah.
able to meet everybody and learn stuff about them.
It just, I'm like, it blows my mind, like how people don't talk to people anymore.
Yeah.
Like that art of walking past someone on a sidewalk and smiling or saying like good morning. Like I like people just don't, you get looked at weird if you were just to say good morning or how's it going, you know? Like
Right.
that just doesn't, people are like looking down on their phones. They don't think to just like look up or even at, like, is that seat taken? People just avoid even like asking about a seat before they asked if they could sit somewhere.
Well, it also let's talk about the comfort zone. I mean, life doesn't start until you leave your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do you think these younger generations are having a harder time getting out of their comfort zone?
I, because I'm like, not the Gen Z generation, but I think that something happened where like a certain, like those kids who are young adults, the parents felt like they shouldn't feel like scared and things shouldn't be hard and they shouldn't get hurt. And it almost seems like they were protected so much from these feelings that now in the real world they're having a hard time. That's what it seems like to me, is like, did no one ever just like let you be disappointed, like as a parent? Like, did they just not let you feel those feelings or something, or were you told to dismiss it? Like, what happened that like, it's okay. My son's like, this is
Yeah.
so hard. I'm like, good, it is hard. There's lots of stuff
Yeah.
that's hard. Like, take a break if you need it and come back, but like, this is gonna be hard. Let's go. I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent, but I feel like we're like,
You sound like a Gen Xer right now.
oh, do I?
You don't sound like a millennial. You sound like a Gen Xer.
Okay. Well,
Rub
that's,
some dirt on it and let's keep going, right?
yeah.
That's the mantra of the Gen Xers.
Okay.
I- And when I looked at it, like Gen Xers are the first ones to kind of buck the system. Millennials were all about work-life balance, and then
Okay.
Gen Zers are like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
Basically. But I mean, the problem is like my Gen Zers at home, they get their news from social media.
Uh-huh.
They believe what they read on social media is true. And it's really it's scary. It's scary to
Yeah.
think when I need to go get my hip replacement, those are the ones that are going to be in charge of doing
Well, I mean, they're probably gonna look it up on YouTube before they
it.
go in.
I just hope they get the anesthetic dose right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think you're right. Like, this isn't like a political comment. So I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. Like, I just didn't
Mm-mm.
know one way or the other. I had no idea. So when that happened, the 14-year-old was like in tears, and I was like, "Who are you talking about?"
Yep.
And she's like, "It's all over social media." And I was like, "Did you know who he was yesterday?" And she's like, "I watched the video a dozen times, and I was like, why?" And so thankfully, like, I let her dad handle the conversation of everything that happened. But you're right that so much of it is like so fast and it's online and it's so easy to like find find a rabbit hole or find like one view that supports only your view, and that's
Yeah.
all you'll end up seeing. And so sometimes I think um you know my daughter will be like, this is how makeup should look, because look, all these people post it the exact same way or something. You know, it's just really easy for anyone to be like, this is what I think is right. And then social media will kind of like steer with an algorithm everything in that
Yeah.
direction to support it, good or bad, you know, whatever it is, whether it's political or something at work or something personal. It's very easy to be like, I believe in gentle parenting. And then everything you see online from there on out supports that theory. Um, so it's different.
Well, speaking of algorithm, Dr. Bailey, veterinarian, you're all over mine. I get
Oh,
to
am I?
see all the
Am I
things
good?
you, yeah, I get to see all the things you post, and you usually going off against clients.
No, I
With
know. And I thought about that the other day and I was like, maybe that's the wrong like angle or tone, because
yeah,
I don't
no,
know
but
that
I
that's
love it.
my
I love it
goal.
though.
It's hard. Do I want to get more client followers? Do I want to get more veterinarian followers? You know, like how do you find something that like everyone can kind of relate to and it doesn't come off as attacking?
Well, it's not attacking, it's telling the truth. There wasn't one thing
Oh,
you
yeah.
have posted so far that hasn't happened somewhere in my career and other
Yeah.
veterinarians' careers. Um, that is absolutely right. When you look back at your days at Auburn, did you think you were well prepared once you graduated? Did you think going up to graduation, I'm ready to go, I got this?
Yes. And I'll say for two reasons. One, I think I live slightly in the like, let's just go, we'll figure it out. What's the worst that can happen? Like mentality. So if they're like, this emergency's coming in, you know, like, well, all right, if I don't do anything, it's going to die. So I'm going to try something to the best of my ability. And that's kind of like my mentality coming out of vet school. But I think Auburn did a pretty good job. They do this like preceptor program where for like the last 2 months you go into private practice and you just work in private practice. And I had a practice that let me like see appointments and do surgeries. And so and they're overseeing it. But so I felt like when I graduated, I had a couple months of talking to clients and kind of leading cases. So I felt like when I graduated at Auburn, like, okay, I
You
can
were
do
ready.
this. Yeah. Like my first job, there were shifts where I was there by myself. Now I had a euthanasia and I had no idea how to calculate euthanasia drugs. Like I just,
A
so I
CC per 10 pounds. It's easy. One
well,
CC per
now
10.
I know that now, you know, but at the time I didn't have it on like my cheat sheet that I carried around with me. Um, but
Did you
I,
carry around the veterinary nerd book?
no, I still have it on my, I have still on my board. It was something from LSU and it was like a double sided laminated piece of paper with like anesthetic drugs on one side, like sedations and things. And on the back, was like common drugs with like real quick, and it's real teeny tiny font so I could fit it in my pocket. Um, but that was the extent of what I carried around.
So, what do you think once you were out? What was the biggest gap? What was your education lacking if you were think back about it?
I think probably just true, maybe two things, true surgery skills. Like, because when you're in vet school, a cystotomy comes in, but like you don't get to do that much because there's an intern and a resident and a surgeon. So, true surgery skills for the non spay neuter. And then I think the other thing, which I think I'm decent at talking to people, so maybe it wasn't as hard for me, but the thing you have to figure out is like meeting people in the middle. And either I learned it quick or they did teach it is like, this is what's going on. Here's three options. Like, this is be most aggressive. This is what's going to cost. This is kind of in the middle. And this is like, we're just going to, you know, say a prayer and do like one or two little things. But I think some people, it seems like now get out and they're like, this is the plan. And if clients can't do that, they're like, well, you're on your own. It doesn't seem like they're always great at being like, okay, well, let's like, how much are we working with financially, or what are your goals for this pet? Like, let's try to make a plan together.
So, do you think you were able to pivot right out of school with the plan idea, or was that a technique or a skill that you learned with time?
I don't totally know. When I got graduated 6 months after I took the job, my boss left on maternity leave and she hired someone else that was just a year older than me. And so I think the two of us just kind of like figured it out together. Um, I don't remember that being a struggle, but that I was a while ago now, I guess.
Well, it is a struggle now. If you see some of these newer
Yeah.
graduates that are out there, I mean, I've heard stories like one would not go into a room and examine an animal unless it was vaccinated for
Yeah.
rabies. There was another one that would not go see or would not treat an animal unless they did everything that was on the
Mhm.
treatment plan. And I don't know where that line of thinking started or where it came from.
Yeah.
That was nothing I ever preached. And the 20 that I put into vet school, that is nothing that I ever taught them as well. I go, there is always a gold standard,
Hmm.
but then there's also a silver standard and a bronze standard
Yeah.
and they're all correct because you have to work with clients or else clients are just going to poo poo you,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I think
And
that's a big thing of just being like, you have a hunting dog and this dog has a job. He's not he lives in a climate controlled kennel, but what your goals are for him are going to be different than the 16-year-old dog with a heart murmur that sees a cardiologist every 3 months. And I think veterinarians need to know like that's okay. And if that hunting dog went into heart failure, they might just decide to euthanize and not go to cardiology and not treat. And that, in my opinion, is okay as long as the dog's not suffering. And so just because someone views the use of their pet differently, that dog has a job. If he's not able to perform, that guy can't take out his groups hunting, his income comes down. So as long as that dog is getting food, shelter, water, appropriate preventatives, that's okay. And if someone else wants to have the 16-year-old dog with the frequent cardiac checks and they're coming every month to manage it, as long as that dog's not suffering, we're not trailing it along with heart failure, that's okay too. It seems like some people have a hard time understanding, that dog's suffering, they need to put it down, or I can't believe they're not going to go to cardiology with that hunting dog. It's not that easy to say. It's not your pet.
yeah, you don't know the relationship, and everyone's relationship is
Yeah.
different with their own animal.
Yeah.
Just like everyone's family dynamic and relationships are different as well.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think
you
asking
don't know.
people like, what's your goals? Or, how do you perceive this pet as, you got to have a conversation with people and get to know the history behind the pet and everything to it. I think it matters.
Yeah, I agree with you 1000%. Honest opinion, do you think veterinary education is changing for the better or are we creating weaker veterinarians?
Um, I don't know. I don't know all the stats of like who they're accepting. I'd like to hope that they're still requiring a lot of experience for these students, like real experience, so that they've like been in a clinic, they have experience, they like know what it's actually like. Um, I I guess because I feel so far removed from what's going on in the universities, it's hard to tell. It does just seem like a lot of the newer grads like want structure, they want a plan, they want very close mentoring, which I'm not saying is wrong, but I think depending on where you're trying to go, that there's not always that opportunity. Now the corporate groups do great at like creating these mentor programs to like hold hands the first couple years. But you were, and I am a small practice or small business. If I hire you, like you got to start making money to like support yourself here. And so that's where it's hard to justify like the first 3 weeks of appointments, I'll just be available. No, I'm booked. That's why I hired you because I need you to get appointments seen. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I can answer that like fairly towards the schools.
Yeah, my thing with the corporate groups is they have a huge turnover, so the continuity of care is not there. And
Yeah.
their mentorship programs are geared towards making sure that they make money. They're not towards how to deal with situations as well.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a huge concern I have because I know a lot of corporate groups that throw new grads into a practice with nobody there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, do you think you would have been ready to be medical director 6 months to a year out of school?
Oh, no.
No,
I
right?
question whether or not I'm able to be a medical director now.
Well, you gambled on yourself when you bought your 2 practices, so you better be ready to
I,
go. You
no,
know,
I
you have a much bigger you got more important people back home to answer to than
yeah.
a than someone sitting up with an MBA up on the high pillar.
I did hear yesterday that like this is a VCA example, but that they have one medical director between 5 hospitals, and she works at each hospital a different day, and it's not going well apparently. But none of the doctors that have been at this one practice, it was a practice I worked out for like a year before I bought the practice. She sold back during COVID, but these doctors were there before me, so 15 years or something they've been there. None of the doctors that are there wanted to be medical director. And so they have one doctor like hopping between hospitals to try to be medical director at all of them. And that's got to be tough for everyone.
Tough for the medical director, tough for all the staff,
Yeah.
because each one of those clinics has a
Yep.
different culture.
It's
Different
like a
culture.
different family.
It is. It is a
You
different
know, it's like
family.
having 5 sets of in laws to try to figure out. I
Wow.
can't handle
I was
it.
blessed. I only had one set of in-laws and they are amazing. So I was
Oh,
very
there you go.
lucky.
Good.
But I know people that have multiple in-laws and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, it's that is very hard to balance. Very, very
Mm-hmm.
hard to balance. I don't know how
Yeah.
people do it. Whew. I mean, you got I don't even that's a whole different podcast. Um so when you look at clients now, because I'm just going off of, a few of your social media posts. How often do you get dinged on Yelp or Google reviews?
I think we're pretty good and we're pretty lucky. I think ours are pretty, like if you were to look at them, I think they're pretty high ratings and people are pretty complimentary. I think the biggest thing that will come up on them usually comes down to just miscommunication more than anything. Sometimes it's just an unrealistic person. They weren't going to be happy with anything that was said. One lady wanted me to dispense injectable controlled drugs for her to have on hand for her
Hmm.
pet because another vet had done it and I refused. Like, write a review. You know, I can't do anything about that. That's just not ever going to be happy. But the other things seem like they're miscommunications. Someone said one thing, someone else said something else, and somehow it fell apart. Um, I think as a whole, I'm lucky though that there's not a lot of people that like throw up a bad review and then just walk away. Um, at least on there. Now, what people say on Facebook about me, I don't know because I'm not on Facebook. That might be a whole other world.
Do any of your clients follow you on socials?
Well, so I'm not on Facebook. I guess I kind of have a Facebook page, but I got rid of
Yeah.
Facebook a while ago because it was too much for me. And I just felt like it wasn't helping me. We do have a Facebook page for the businesses, and someone else runs those. Um, but like if the community post has something about a vet and someone says something bad about me, I don't know unless someone says something
Sees it.
specifically to me. I
Right.
think some follow me on Instagram, which I'm not as active on, and some on TikTok. Uh, I don't know. I haven't spent much time looking at that. Some people have made comments like, "Oh, your videos are really funny." So I guess some people see them.
Well, if you just watch two,
Hope
then
I'm
you're in
not
the
offending
algorithm.
anyone.
Yeah. Well, you don't. How can you offend someone when you're being your authentic self? That's the thing. It's more offensive when you're faking it, and
Yeah,
clients
and I
can
mean, I
see
put up
through
a
it.
thing the other day, like about when like the surgeon quotes like 5,000 or 15,000 for surgery or something. I have to tell the client,
Yes.
and a lot of people
On
that
the
commented
phone. Yep.
were yeah, they were clients that commented on that, just kind of like relating, And so I think that people get it, and I don't read a lot of the comments. If someone says something, I just ignore it.
You
So
just move on.
yeah, you got to. I got other things to worry about.
Well, going back to the Gen Zers, they're always on their phones, and
Yeah,
there's a great chance they're probably reading all those reviews and all those comments.
yeah.
What would you tell them? What's the best way you've dealt with it, or you've told people to deal with bad
Um,
online reviews?
so I mean, I've had them. When I bought the hospital, I saw a cat, and the lady wanted to put it down. I was like, we need to like find a reason. I can't just put this cat down because you say he's peeing too much. So we did blood work finally. And she wrote me this letter that was horrible. Like it was so mean. It was just, it was awful, like really bad. And I remember I sat there and I don't know if I cried, but I sat there and just felt terrible. And she happened to come in for something. And I was like, can I talk to you for a second? And I took the letter in and I was like, this is not okay. Like, you can't put stuff like this in writing and give it to someone and walk away. Like, that's not fair to me. You can't do that. And she said, but I felt so much better after I wrote it. And I just remember being like, that's fine, but throw it away. Don't bring it to me and then leave not thinking about the person on the other side of it, because that's not fair. And maybe I don't think I got dramatic, but I was like, the veterinary suicide rate is so high because of letters like this, because people put it out there and they feel better and they don't think at all about the person on the other side. And this is the exact example of why it's getting so bad. You can't do this. And she was very apologetic and she made some comments that were kind afterwards. But I don't, I kept it as like a reminder of the situation or I trashed it immediately. I don't remember. But um, I was like, you can't do this to people. It's not fair. You can't put horrible, hateful things out there in the world that make you feel better about yourself or an experience and just think it's done. Because it's not. Someone else is on the other side of it reading that letter. And she's never written another one like it. But I think, so to answer your question is,
Yeah.
when people do things like that, when they put it online or they put it in a paper or they leave you the voicemail, it's about them more than you. There's something else with them that's the problem. And whether it's, I had 15 voicemails one time and I just deleted them all. I didn't even listen to them. If it's a voicemail or a letter and you read those first couple lines and it's not going in the right way, or the posts online are hard because you can't always delete them, just stop, delete it, throw it away, like delete the app off your phone for a little while. Just stop and don't go into it, because it's them, it's their problem that they're dumping on you. It's their guilt or their shame or their own issues with something, and you don't need that. Like, you got enough on your plate with your own relationships or finances or professional life. You don't need to carry anyone's crap around. So just don't give it to a staff member. Be like, I'm going to give you this. If I'm still thinking about it in a month, give it back maybe when like things have calmed down. But don't carry other people's crap. You just can't. There's not enough. No one's Superman to be able to keep that. That's the best advice I have.
Well, you brought up a whole bunch of questions that I'm writing down now. So first off, you talked about, sometimes the bad reviews you get are from miscommunication. What are
Yeah.
some things you do to counteract the miscommunication part? Are there tricks you've learned or you try or you have your staff do, just so the lines of communication are always open?
Well, whether or not they do it every time, like we try to introduce ourselves. So when it comes to like she said, it's like, well, who said? That way, at least if, you know, like Jackie's saying the same thing to 10 clients and it's wrong, we can like address it. Like, hey, Jackie, this is wrong. This is actually what we should be saying. So trying to get the staff to introduce themselves when they're on the phone helps.
Does
So then
Jackie know
there's,
you just threw her under the bus?
I had to think of a staff member we don't have named that. It took me a minute to come up with a name. Um, So that, I mean, I think that's, and then listening, like letting them talk. Don't cut them off. If they're not cussing, just let them talk. And then just try to recap. Like, okay, so I think what I'm hearing is this. And sometimes when you say it back to them, they're like, well, okay, maybe that wasn't exactly it. But try to listen and then try to give it back to them. And sometimes when I'm at a loss, like, I don't know what you want me to do, I'll just say, like, what do you want me to do? What do you expect me to do? Like, if you've got a client on the phone that's like, why didn't this and this happen? Sometimes I'll just try to, and a lot of times, like, well, I don't know either. So I think if you can try to listen, to recap, to ask for input, try not to be defensive helps. I don't know that they're tricks. I don't know that they're successful. Um, Sometimes if someone I've had some people, they call to complain, and I've got them on the phone and they're just mad. I'll even just say like, hey, look, before I waste any of your time, are you planning on switching hospitals? Because if the answer is already yes, regardless of the outcome of this conversation, we can just save some time and like wish each other well. Like I got a 4-year-old. She is great at yelling at me. If I'm going to
Yeah.
get yelled at, I'll just go home. So that doesn't always go over well, but that's also something I guess as being an owner for a while, I've gotten to the point of like, if you're not happy and you want to switch, that's okay. But like we can spare each other this arguing. Like it's okay. You can pick a new hospital and I'm going to be all right.
Well,
I
Dr.
don't know if
Bailey,
I answered your question.
you're so
I got
good
been
at
on tangents.
conflict. Like, where did you
Oh.
learn how all these different conflict tactics, or do you just not, in a better way of saying it, just don't give a shit because you have confidence in yourself?
Um, I wonder if I'm like as good at this at home as it's coming off of at work. Um, because now you say that, I'm like, well, am I good at home of like dealing with things the same way? Um, I think I'm tired sometimes. And I told you, and maybe it can be a different conversation. I had like things kind of do like a 180 this year. Like things were headed in one direction, they changed. Things felt foggy for a little while. And probably was this before, but I think it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we don't, I don't know. What are we doing? We have like one life. Thursday, my kids got her Thanksgiving feast. I'm coming in for 2 hours. Like, either I could have missed it or I could have just taken the day off. And it's like, I'm going to come in for 2 hours because that's 6 appointments that I'd be canceling on. That's 6 people that expect me to help them with their pet. I'm going to do that. But then my kid's only going to be in pre K for so many years. And then there's no more any Thanksgiving feast. So I'm leaving and I'm going to go spend that time at home. And I think hopefully with time, I've just maybe I follow some people online. I don't know that have just helped me create some boundaries, create and appreciate people more and understand they've got their own stuff they're dealing with and it's not all about me. And I've had some life stuff. I mean, I got married, I got divorced. It all felt very public while I was owning a hospital as like a young person. I've had health things come up and had to deal with. I've had loss in my life. And so maybe some of it's just me trying to be like, I got one shot at this. Like, can we just talk about it and figure out? Don't go on and on about your feelings because I don't really want to hear all of the feelings. But like, how do we practically? Because there's a difference. Sometimes people are like, you don't care about feelings. I'm like, I do to an extent, but also like, can the feelings that are going to be helpful, sure, but not the ones that are just like, wow, wow, wow. Like, what are we going to do with this though? How do we move forward?
Have you gotten the line? You're a veterinarian. You're supposed to be compassionate. Have you
Uh,
gotten that line ever? I got
no,
it
did you really?
a few
And
times,
maybe it was
and
in that letter.
it all had to deal with money. The fact
Yeah.
that I actually was going to charge for services.
Yeah. That's a hard one. The charging for things. Um, I think thankfully like we've got really good clients now and like a certain reputation, but it is a hard one. And I guess I've had it more sometimes with my doctors. I'm like, why aren't you charging for this? And it's kind of the opposite. Like, well, I feel bad. I'm like, you feel bad about what? Like, I still have to pay the staff that helped you. Um, so I've not
I still
gotten
have
that
to pay
complaint.
you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're like, fine, then just charge me for it. I'm like, that's not the point, though.
Right.
Um, I've not gotten that comment, I guess, thankfully. And I think I'm a compassionate person. I just can also kind of be direct or to the point, maybe. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm more compassionate in exam rooms than is coming off in this conversation.
No, you're just a typical East Coast mentality that I'm used to.
Is it really
Because
different?
it is very different. They I
So give me a
believe
situation and I want to see how I would handle it versus what you think someone in California would do.
you already have Yelp
Oh,
reviews, Google reviews, uh, getting that letter,
what would people do
dealing with
differently?
conversation. The, the problem is like out here they do not confront
Oh,
the situation head on.
Okay,
They
so
don't,
if I get a bad review,
and
I
I'm
will
not
just
saying that
call
in a
the
bad
client.
way. It's just, and
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a cultural thing or not.
yeah,
Like because I mean, South Florida, where I grew up, the women were very, and men especially, were very combative and always argumentative.
oh,
Um, and then, and that goes all the way up the coast. And even Wilmington, North Carolina, where I was an undergrad with all the New Yorkers that came into town, that
yeah,
happened as well. I mean, out here, people are becoming more like that. And since the Great Recession, things have changed a little bit. But the surf, like when I first moved out here, it was like the surfer mentality. Hey man, hang loose, everything will be okay. Don't worry
yeah.
about it. Do you ever get road rage? Just curious.
No, not a little, I guess. My husband's like way more than me, so I'll say no because he like does. Um,
Yeah.
well, I don't think
It,
so. Not
and
like
I'm
too much.
and I'm the funny thing is, like, my wife does not back down from anybody,
Yeah,
and she's a West Coast girl. But
mm,
there's other veterinarians that I've worked with that truly just, their best way to solve a situation was to ignore it, not take it head on. And I'm wondering if that's one of the skills that we're lacking in veterinary medicine, is the ability to really just sit down and have crucial conversations
yeah.
without the fear of getting your feelings hurt. But
I think, yeah, I think that probably puts it well because it's amazing. Like, I've definitely had conversations with certain people where I'm like, hey, look, this is how you want to do something, but this is the way like the hospital's going to do it because these reasons, like because of the staffing or the scheduling or the cost. And at the end, it's like, well, I feel like my opinion didn't matter. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with feelings. Like, this is an operational thing. Like, I'm glad you came to me and we talked about it. Or, anytime it didn't go their way, like anytime we do a doctor's meeting, we talk about a protocol, if it didn't end up their way, then it was like, I feel like my opinion's not valued. And it's like that, that's not true. We just had a 45-minute meeting about this one topic, but it doesn't always mean your opinion is going to be the way that's right for an entire business. And that's thrown me sometimes where I'm like, this doesn't have anything to do with feelings or like, it's nothing personal about this. Sometimes I get confused how that even comes up.
so when you look at your leadership skills in the veterinary practice, do you believe you're a transformational leader, where you listen to everyone and you try to transform everybody and you take everyone's opinions on? Or are you more, I don't want to say militant, but you're like, this is how we're doing it?
Um, we have doctors meetings and staff meetings every month, and we like come in with our list and we go through it. And like this last one of the doctors had a big concern with like the way some like communication between the staff was getting put in. And so, I'll be like, what do you think? Like, what would you rather happen? And if she's like, I think this would work better, if I usually I'm like, all right, let's try it. And we'll talk about it in a month. Um, Sometimes people will be like, I think we should do this. And I'm just like, like logistically, no, there's a lot more that goes into it than just this. So it's just not going to be feasible. So what's between the two of them? Like, I don't know. I think I'm in between. I think I try to like
Yeah.
listen to everyone's opinions. But if you're coming to me with a problem, I want you to bring a solution too. Like, don't just bring me problems and expect me to fix all of them. Um, I think I'm in between.
Yeah,
It's,
because when I led, I was like, "Hey, that's a great idea. Implement, execute." And
yeah,
I learned that if they were able to keep something going for 3 weeks, then it would
yeah,
become norm.
right.
What would
And that's it.
frustrate me is
Check in a
just
month and see how it's going.
right, right, the things that we would try it, and then it would just fall from the wayside.
Yeah. Or
And
when
I would
people are
always,
like, well, I don't know. I just thought you should know this is going on. I don't know how to fix it. I'm like, well, when it
well, come
matters
up with
enough,
something. Yeah,
yeah, like
exactly.
when it matters enough, you're thinking about solutions, like come back to me.
Right. And well, and that's, and going back to early career vets, a lot of them believe that every practice should have an ultrasound, should have this, should
Yeah.
have that, should have this. And it's like, well, every practice would love to have that,
Mhm.
but sometimes number one, the practice can't afford it.
Mhm.
And number two, you got to get trained on it. And
Yeah.
then that costs a lot of money. Whenever I was very progressive, I always made sure I had the latest and greatest of whatever. But whenever I made sure I was working on price,
Yeah.
I'd always include training sessions. Like, okay, yeah, you want me to buy this laser, this therapy laser? I need at least 20 hours of
Yeah.
training included in the price,
Yeah. I
you know?
agree. And like the girls, they'll be like, oh, we should get a new ultrasound. I'm like, we use it for cystos. This one's fine. If anyone's going to get trained in doing a full abdominal ultrasound, we'll look into it, but so I think that's a big thing is like, if they're like, oh, have you seen this? I'm like, all right, well, what's the cost? What are we going to charge? Who's going to use it? How do you make it make sense if
Right.
we're going to bring something into the practice?
Have you seen that ligature gun? Do you use one?
No, I've seen them, but I haven't used one. I'm
Oof,
trying to
I
think if
finally
we
got to use one the other day. Holy cow.
so fast. I
So
think for
awesome.
splenectomies, right? They're a game
Yeah.
changer.
Or even even a spay.
Yeah.
Done. But then I talked to my original mentor a couple episodes ago, and he was telling me that he can do, because he's 70 years old and he just does high high care affordable spay neuter now. That's all he
Okay.
does.
Like high quantity.
Yeah, but he does high quality too. But
Okay.
he can do a cat spay, and he said 4 to 6 minutes now.
Yeah.
And he ligates the pedicle upon itself. I've never learned that technique.
Yeah, I saw it on TikTok. I saw a
You
video
did.
of that. It was like, watch me do a 3-minute cat spay or something. And they even still used a spay hook. But that was one of the things that they did was they like, just like you kind of would do with like a neuter, they, I can't remember if they did it for the ovarian pedicles or just the stump, but I know
The
that was
ovarian
something they,
pedicles. Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
ovarian.
So I was like, wow, I've never even like considered that or like seen that before.
Right. Well, and I was like, well, why don't you just do ovarectomies? And he's like, because then I actually have to put in more ligatures than if I just do a regular spay. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I dabbled in ovarectomies and spays, and it is what it is. It was pretty easy, but again, you got to step out of your comfort zone to try new things.
Yeah.
You got
The
to
ligature
evolve.
gun for me is like, what's the expense? Are we going to charge more for a spay? Can we justify charging more to the client to cost, cover the cost of the equipment? Is it going to make us that much faster that we're putting that many more on the book? So that's kind of where equipment like that, I'm like, well, that's a great idea, but we have to like just make sure it makes sense. We're not just bringing in a tool that's not going to like pay for itself.
Do you ever put your own personal time into that equation of, like, I mean, yes, it might be expensive to buy it, but what if it saves you 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
Oh yeah. I guess I don't like intentionally do. I
Right.
probably just think of like where that time will go instead. Like, it buys me 10 minutes. So I've got 10 more minutes to do phone calls so I can leave, a little bit more on time or something. Like, I
Do you,
don't know that I put a dollar amount to it, but as much as like I just reallocate the time to something else.
do you call, email, text clients? Which one do you do the most still?
If I know them personally, I'll just text them unless it's something bad and then I'll call them. And I mean, like personally, like really know them. I easy things like routine wellness labs come back. It's all beautiful. I don't know the people really well. It was a quick appointment or like sorry to say like wasn't very memorable. Sometimes I'll just shoot them an email with it. Um, anything I think that like requires a discussion involves pricing with next diagnostics. Maybe it was a visit that for some reason didn't feel great. Like it just felt complicated or longer. I call them. I mean, I don't think you can put that in an email. I think that's too much. If they don't pick up, sometimes I'll email them and be like, hey, these are the results, but we need to talk about X, Y, and Z. Like, let my front desk staff know a good time to catch you. But I do still think there's value in that like phone call. Or again, even if the blood work's normal, but like the visit just seemed kind of off, I'll call them and just say like, hey, did you have any questions after the visit? Like, did I accurately like discuss your pet's weight or address the allergies? Did you have any other questions after you left to kind of keep that communication open?
How many times do you leave a voicemail and they just call you back and they don't even listen to the voicemail?
A lot. And sometimes I'll say like, tell them to listen to the voicemail and call me back if they have questions. And
Well, I
other
used to.
times
That's
I'm
why I
like,
started emailing everything. I just
yeah,
started emailing because it's like, here's your lab work. this is what I think is going on.
Yeah.
Let me know if you have any questions. Have you tried any of the AI lab readers that IDEX or Antech offers?
I'll look through them. One thing I think, if we can, this is like a little similar but different. I think there's real value in calling your clients after euthanasia the next day or next week. Did you ever do that?
We used to send them a card the
Yeah, we
next
sent
day.
him a card. And I had heard a study years ago that said like some astonishing number of people switch vets after euthanasia because it's weird for them to go back. And so now after euthanasia, maybe 80% of them, the next day to the next week, I just make a phone call. And sometimes they don't answer. Um, but I just say like, hey, it's Dr. Bailey. I just want to let you know I was thinking about you, and I'm really sorry we had to say goodbye to Socks, but he was a great cat, and I loved his visits because X, Y, and Z. And if you think of anything or you have any questions or you want to talk, like just give me a call back. And the people that call back, it's like amazing how many of them are like, thank you for calling. Or I get a deceased notification from the emergency vet and I just call and I'm like, hey, I see this happened over the weekend. I'm really sorry if do you want to talk about it? And the people that are just like, yeah, I do. And they're not 30-minute conversations. Usually I don't want to talk that long, but you can like hear it that they're like, yeah, I do actually. Like, this is what happened. What do you think? And I think they appreciate it. And I think that goes a long way. I've got this card on my desk. This is like one of my favorite clients. But he said, again, thank you so much. It meant so much to me. Your phone call yesterday helped me with closure. And I didn't talk to him. He didn't pick up when I called. But when I got that card, it just for me like confirmed, okay, these phone calls after this matter to the people. And they're awkward. Some of my doctors are like, I don't want to do that. It's weird. And I'm like, that's
No, it's
just
not.
it's hard. I'm sorry it feels hard. But
It's
get out of
empathy.
your comfort zone. Exactly. Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone and you're doing it for someone else.
So
Not for
that'll
like
bring
you're
me
doing it for the client and for like the business and the relationship. There's more to it, but
right.
just get out of your comfort zone a little, grow.
Be a human. Be a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's something I try to encourage. We don't require it.
and that's one thing. Like my father-in-law, he was a full-time vet too. He negotiated a deal with one of his clients that would make these little clay pots,
Oh yeah.
and and they would and he would put like succulents in there,
Oh, that's cute.
and to deliver it to every single client
Wow.
after they passed away.
Yeah.
And of course, the clients loved it. They never
Yeah.
lost a client. I used to do edible arrangements
Yeah.
for clients, especially the hard ones. And by the hard ones, I mean like you have that 65, 70-year-old man who got this dog when he was an empty nester,
Yeah.
and that was his buddy, his fishing buddy, his
Carried
coffee
him through
buddy.
something hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, or
Um,
or 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 a dog that passed away that it was their son's dog, or it was
yeah.
a widow whose husband passed away and this was the last connection
Yeah.
she had. Those
Um,
are hard.
whether you love Chewy or not, with what like changes they brought to the veterinary industry, I mean, they're doing something right in the sense that they send like if you have an auto ship from Chewy and you say my dog died, they send you flowers afterwards. Like they send flowers. And my grandmother died in February. We were really close. And the day of my grandmother's funeral, like the assisted living people called my dad about like the charges for painting her room or something. And
Oh my god.
I remember talking to my dad and I was like, I was like, I didn't see flowers from them at the funeral or any, like, did they send anything? He was like, we haven't even gotten a card. And I was like, Dad, Chewy sends people's flowers when their dog dies. And I'm not saying a dog's life is less valuable than a human's, but she was spending way more money to live at this like senior facility, I'm like, if they can send flowers to every pet that comes up in their system as deceased, like people need to do more. And I think Chewy, I mean, just that action, like it means something to people.
Well, let's go back to the idea of empathy. Do you think as a human race we've lost empathy, or do you think it's just in our profession? Or do you think it's both?
Oh, I hate to say like we've lost empathy as a race. That just feels terrible. Um, and I think people just get busy and they get just closed in, like they become so myopic, they start forgetting about that. I don't think it's gone. I think it's still there. I think, and hopefully not as a profession. I'm sure it affects other professions too. Um, I think, and I don't know if it's a corporate thing. I mean, it can't be all corporates because Chewy's sending flowers, whether they're doing it out of empathy or they're doing it as a business tactic. Um, I think if people slow down a little, um, maybe it would get better. I think they're just so spun up in all the stuff that affects them.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing since I've been doing relief shifts is that, I was out of the game for 14 months before I got back in because it took me that long to reset everything. And the one thing I've noticed when I go into clinics is you because of my research and my what I've been doing for the last 4 years, I can tell, I can see the signs of burnout.
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed that, everyone's so emotionally exhausted. I think they've
Mhm.
lost their empathy.
Yeah.
They've lost their patience, as far as not their actual animals, but their own patience, their
Hmm.
ability to control emotional things that they say, their ability to read the room.
Yeah.
I think emotional intelligence is a real problem, and I don't think we're accepting students that have emotional intelligence.
No, I completely agree with that. I think people have a lot on their plates. I, I think social media makes it worse. Always being in contact with people 24/7, like the texts and the emails and the phone calls you get while you're just trying to do your job makes it feel heavy. Um, because it is a lot when you're trying to see appointments and the school calls because your kid's sick and your husband sends you a text like that you forgot to do something. Like, I think people are just carrying a lot. And I think maybe I speak for myself.
No, I
I
know. I got one from my wife this morning that I forgot to do something.
I didn't today, but I think people are like carrying so much, and then you like show up to work, and it's like, like it just starts to feel heavy, and I
Mhm.
think people don't know what to do with that, or maybe they just don't know what to say, like how to say, like I got stuff going on, and it's heavy. Like this isn't about you. I got things in my mind. Sometimes I think if people could express things a little bit better. But I think
Was it-
there's a lot of burnout. I don't know why. I think sometimes some of my vets, I think that we're getting close to burnout. We're like overextending themselves, and that's why they're getting burnt out. They're calling the client 5, 6 times. They're getting frustrated that the client's not like doing everything for the pet. It's like that's on them now. You called and left a voice message. You can't adult for all these people. Like, let it go and move on.
do you find yourself good at leaving what's going on outside the clinic, or do you find yourself tending to bring it into the clinic?
Uh, I, I don't think, I think I'll like tell a story about it and then like move on. I don't think I bring in a lot. Every now and then I'll bring in something from home. Um, but I think in general, I'm pretty good at keeping them separate. I might be like, oh my God, like my husband has pneumonia. I guess we're at the end of it. And last week I was like, he better get up and walk the dogs sometime soon because I'm tired of doing all of it. But I feel like I can say it in a way that's like joking and I kind of get it off my chest. I don't think I bring too much in, honestly. Every now and then there's probably something where I just kind of shut down. I'm like, I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just work. Um,
Is that a pet peeve when people bring in their outside problems to work all the time?
I think I'm kind of direct about it. And I'm like, hey, whatever's going on, do you want to talk about it? Because if not, we got to move on. Like, or you got to go home if you got stuff you need to deal with. But like, we can't do this. This isn't working. So either get it off your chest and get to work or take the time off. Like, why don't you just go home? This is you need the day. And so that tomorrow come back and let's work on it. Um, I don't think I let it hang like a cloud very much during the day. Hopefully,
You
ask my
hopefully.
employees. See what they say.
Oh, they're next. I should get them all on there and get a
Yeah,
follow
they'll
up with
give
all of
you
them, right?
way different answers than all of us.
Hey, let's talk. This is the Dr. Bailey hour, and everything you
They're
say
going to be like, "Oh,
will
don't
be
bring the baggage.
confidential.
I'll tell you to shut up and get to work."
Um, Now you also mentioned earlier in our conversation something about to the effect of rumination, where you go home and think about it. Do you still do that? Did that get better as you were out, or do you think you never have been much of a ruminator yourself?
I think that got a lot better. Look, and maybe it's just the stage of life. When I get home, like the gears change, like the minute I pull in the driveway, if I'm on the phone, I'm like, I'm pulling in, I gotta go. They can be mid sentence and I'm like cutting someone off. I try to when I turn on a certain road close to my house, I start driving a little slower. I've had to like pull over a couple times because when I get in the driveway to go like in the house, like that's now a different environment. I've got like kids and dogs and family. And so if I come back to it, it's like 9 o'clock at night probably, and then I'm tired. So I think I've gotten better about not ruminating. There's a couple people or instances where I'll like text a client just, hey, how's it going or something. But it's not been the case. Like when I was single, I had tons of time to ruminate, go home, still look up stuff, maybe call or text a classmate about something. And I think that's normal and healthy that like you're thinking about your cases at home. If you're able to turn it off at a point in your life when all you have to do after work is like go to the gym and get takeout, that's impressive. Um, I can do it now because I have to, because there's a new set of people demanding my attention when I get home. And they're demanding.
When a client sees your invoice and they see a bill for, let's say, $700, what do you think it is that the client doesn't see? And is there a better way for us to communicate that?
I think that going into the room at the beginning of appointment saying like, here's an estimate for everything is not the way to do it. So typically something that I think works with us is the staff will go in and like talk to a client. And if it's like an appointment where they're due for all the things, like every vaccine, they want a nail trim, they need a year of preventative, the staff will start putting together an estimate and just kind of tell them then, like, okay, the doctor's not in yet, but based off what you're saying, like this is a rough ballpark of what you can expect. And so that starts the conversation. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do 6 months if it's going to be too much. Or they'll say something and the staff will say, like, all right, when the doctor comes in, we can look at splitting the visit up into two if it makes it a little less expensive or more doable. And then as a hospital rule, we're supposed to, if we know it's going to be over $500, that's the number we set. We're supposed to be like, okay, like this visit's getting kind of complicated, or there's more to this. I just want to go over real quick. Like the exam, we're doing blood work. Now we're doing x-rays. Here's like a rough ballpark of where we are. Like, I just want to make sure it's okay. Like, do you want us to do them one thing at a time? Can we go ahead and get them going? I think those things help with when they do the checkout and they see the bottom number, because sometimes then I think they already figured it was going to be about that and it's no big deal. I think if you don't have the conversation and all they see that number is, then they're like, well, what would I spend all this money on? Like, how could my dog's annual vaccines, routine blood work, and prevention for a year have been $700? So I think sometimes they're like, how? Like, what could cost this much money?
Okay. Last question. I could go on for hours, by the way.
We'll
I
do a part
love,
two.
yeah, okay, part two it is. What's one irreplaceable truth that you think people
Oh,
need to
that's the
know
name of your
about veterinary
podcast.
medicine? That's right. What about veterinary medicine?
What does that mean, though? What's a irreplaceable truth?
Something you never knew,
Oh.
but you wish you did.
Um, so I've always been like good at talking and like relating. So one of my employers once told me I could talk to a tree for an hour. Um, I don't think I understood going into vet school how important. Oh, we talked about this a little, like a connection with the people was going to be. Thankfully, that's easy for me. Like that's not something I struggle with. So I don't think it was like a shock and like hard for me to adapt to, but I don't think I understood like how much that would mean. And I don't think I realized how much, like how important it was going to be to me either. Um, but I don't think enough people realize that when they're like, I want to go to vet school, but like, oh my God, I hate like when anyone tells me I'm wrong, and I hate when I have to like explain myself, and I really hate like following up on the phone. Like, I don't think people understand like how important that connection and finding an understanding with people is going to vet school. I didn't understand it. Again, it's not hard for me to get there, so that's good. Um, but I also didn't understand like how important it was going to be to me. So like I love animals. Um, but when like I had my first kid and like clients brought me presents, I was like, oh, like why? You know, and they're like, well, because like we love you, we're excited for you. Or when I'd see a friend and they'd be like, oh, you're so and so's vet, like they love coming to visit. Like I didn't realize how important, like special that was going to make me feel either. And I don't know that I find validation in other people very often, but it like actually felt important. Like it felt good, you know, that someone's like, oh, you're her vet, she loves you. And I was like, oh, that feels good, you know. And I don't think I understood that part of the profession. I think I just thought like, I'm going to make cats and dogs better and everything's going to be good.
So does it make you cringe when people say they became veterinarians because they don't like people?
Yeah, you can't, that's not it. You can't do that at all. You need to go be an engineer. You
Well, I
can't.
guess you could be a radiologist.
Yeah, but still, that's miserable. Good luck on clinics and but 4 years with a vet school class and not like people. It's so much drama and it's a whole other conversation too. Um,
Do you see yourself as an
yeah.
extrovert or introvert?
What's that saying about being like an introverted extrovert or something? Um, like leave me alone. Like I'm gonna pray you're gonna cancel plans, even though I like made them. But but I can do like the song
That's
and the
called being a
dance.
that's called being a parent. That's called being a parent. No,
I
but
like I'm like
do
on
you
the
find
couch
it
and I'm like, please say
exhausting?
it's rained out.
Yeah. Do you find it exhausting to talk to people?
Not in the moment, just at the end of the day. Um, I think I'm good at like doing the thing, like where you go to the soccer game and you like talk to all the parents and you find something in common with them all. But at the afterwards, I'm like, oh, that was a lot of work, and I'm not doing it to like show face or be fake at all. Like it's genuine things. Um, but it sometimes it's a lot of work, but I also don't avoid it. Like my brother and I have very different like personalities. We have like a big family business. If we were at like the same event, he would just kind of like hang back and talk to like someone he'd know, and I'd be like, "Oh, I remember you," and like I'm much more like let's talk.
You're extroverted. You're
I guess I am.
extroverted.
But leave me alone
Yeah.
at night. Don't ask me to
Yeah.
go out.
That's parenting,
Is
but
that what
being
that is?
able to go into a room and be like, "Oh, I don't know you. Let me go find out who you are and what you're about." That's to
Yeah, and I
me.
guess that's true. So if we're in a room and I see people I don't know, I'll probably just go, and it's like a thing, like an event or a party ish thing. You know, I'll probably just be like, "Hey, like I'm Marianne. How do you know so and so?"
Yeah.
Instead of just like scrolling or whatever.
Well, Dr. Bailey, I'm going to let you go back and save some more animals.
Thanks. Do
But
my phone calls.
yeah, we're yay, but we're definitely going to do a part two. We are definitely
Okay.
going to do a part two. If people are interested in getting a hold of you, what's the best way they can get a hold of you on Instagram and TikTok?
Um, you can don't call me because I'm not gonna answer. You probably have to figure out a way to get my cell phone number and send me a text. That's probably your best bet. I don't know. I was hard for you to get a hold of me at first. I think I went. I'll read a message and forget to reply. So probably try to email me is probably the best way, or call the office and ask them to give me a message. Is
So
that
what's your
bad? When did that become a
what
thing?
I don't know what's your social media tag?
All right. So on Instagram, it is Marianne Bailey.dvm. And that's just my name.dvm. And then on TikTok, maybe I should make a match. It's veterinarian, like vet HER Narian. And then my email
Vet.
is just drbailey@gmail.com.
So yes, you should make them match on both socials. Just
Yes.
just putting it out
No,
there.
I
Just putting
know.
it out there.
You know, I have.
I don't want you to get you for you to get mad at me, but you should do that.
I
And
think I have to decide. Like, I did make an effort this year of like being on Instagram, and be like, hey, this is now vet stuff. If you want to see my family and my kids, this is the private profile you can request to follow. And I tried this year to make them separate to where we have a beautiful family. There's nothing to be ashamed of, but I think my son's in one TikTok, but I kind of keep them separate. For me, it feels like a clean boundary. I'm not trying to put my kids out there, and not in a weird, like, I'm a celebrity, I'm going to put stickers on their face. It's for vet stuff. And, so that was a big thing to do this year. And then I think I started TikTok as like an escape for something fun to do. And then, but I've like not tried to put it out there to like people that really know me that I have this TikTok. So that's probably why they're separate. But you're right. At some point, I should make a match.
Well,
And if I started a
veterinarian.
podcast, the name was going to be Veterinarian, but that's a couple years in the making still. So,
Well, you know what? You should, because the one thing again is you're truly brutally honest and you're authentic, and that's the one thing that I think veterinarians need to hear right now.
yeah.
They just need to know the honest truth. So, but I just want to tell the listeners, for everyone to stay tuned. There will be a part 2. I love the way Dr. Bailey just bluntly just answers questions,
But
and
hopefully nicely. Like, I don't want
but
to come
there's no
off as like
fluff.
a
No, there's
hard
no fluff.
ass. Okay.
There's no fluff. That's the problem. The problem is that for example, our leadership in our profession, I believe, are just putting band-aids on a bunch of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Where like we need direct answers and not roundabout answers. And
Yeah.
I love you for doing just that. Just give us direct answers, because
I don't
that's
know how
what
people have time. Maybe it just, I don't know.
when you're a mom, a wife, and a practice owner, you don't have time. You don't.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. But I also love talking to female veterinary owners because I think they are badass. So again, thank you for spending your time with me today.
I will
And
say
then,
I'm not trying to cut you off. I know I am though. There's like a weird group of young vets that are opening their own practices right now.
mm-hmm.
And I am like here for I don't know where they got
Dr.
the
Carly's
confidence
one of
from.
them.
Yeah, there's
I
like
talked to
two in
her.
my area. I don't know where they got the confidence. I don't know where they got the financing because it's so expensive to open a practice from scratch. I think it's fantastic. I think especially those two things, the confidence and they're young. They've not been out long. And I think it's awesome. Like they're not both of them are like close-ish. I don't view them as competition. Like I wish them all the best. I hope they succeed. And I think it's great. I hope there's more that do that.
But if you're confident in your own self, no one will ever be competition.
Right.
That's the way
Well,
I looked at it. I never
yeah.
worried about other clinics ever.
No.
Maybe for a second or two, and then I moved on because
Well,
I
it's like if
knew
we all just do our best job, like truly our best job, then we're all going to be okay. There's enough pets out there.
we're all going to be just fine.
Yeah.
So again, thank
Okay.
you,
Sorry.
thank you, thank you. And to all the listeners, if you have any questions as well, you can always hit me up on the socials. Irreplaceable Truths. VetMed HQ is another platform that we have started where if you have any questions for any of the veterinarians that are on there, just let us know. And we'll catch you all next time.